Welcome back to another episode of the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. It's been a while since we recorded, took a little bit of time off over the winter break because we all had crazy schedules. But I'm Sydney Wolf, joined by Drew Steele and Peter Odney, and we're here to fill you in on all the things that happened over the last few weeks because there's been a lot. There's been a lot from World Juniors to a bunch of commitments to just like all the other crazy stuff that has happened. I said this on the college pod earlier today because this is my second pod of the day, but I don't know if you guys had any notable non-work hockey related things you did over the break, but Drew, did you have any highlights of the holiday season that did not involve the team you work for or hockey you had to go watch?
Yeah, I made my men's league debut last night. We were kind of talking about it before the show. Breaking in new wheels, though, tough on the right above the ankle bone, got the little blisters. So we're band-aided up and we'll be ready to rip next week. Only biffed it twice for first time playing in 10 years. So back out on the ice, no edge. We were ready to rip. And Team Teal took home a 3-1 win with an empty netter. And I may or may not have chirped the guys on the other team when I went to take the face-off after the empty netter and said, boys, you guys know that goal differential is the tiebreaker at the end of the year. It's week one of the season. and the guy's like, are you serious? Like, he was like pissed off at his team for pulling the goalie at that point. So, yeah, worth it. And I just like spit in the middle of that middle of me talking there. But we're live right onto the chesticles.
So what you're saying is with your blisters, your lower body day to day.
Yeah, lower body. I'm not sore by any means, but like when the khakis kind of rubbed up against it at work today, I was in some pain. So went to the first aid kit, put on Band-Aids, and yeah, we'll be fully recovered by mid to late January, but we'll play through it.
Wow.
Mid to late January. Give it a week, I guess. Give it a week.
What about you?
I was thinking 3 days.
I know you were super busy with YHH stuff, but did you do any non-work hockey related things? No, it seems like you guys were just crazy busy with tournaments and World Juniors and all that jazz.
Yeah, I don't think that I've had a day. Have I had a day off since December 26th? I think that might actually be the last day, which is fine. I mean, it's that time of year. I expected it, and getting to do World Juniors was a really cool experience. Like Drew, I got new skates recently, and it is like being a baby giraffe trying to learn to walk again because the blades are about yay thick on the new ones, and I skated on my old ones until they were about right here. So I feel taller. The skates aren't broken in yet. I played like shit. I did not score any goals, and whoever sharpened them at the Bauer Experience did an atrocious job because I ate it 5 or 6 times. So I'm going to take them over to General Sports where the pros sharpen your skates, and I'm going to try to get back out there maybe Sunday night.
Nice. I mean, if we're talking about hockey, I did go to Jossie's Moms Try Hockey Camp, so shout out Coach Jossie. I did not score any goals either. I did miss one pretty bad, but it was the end of my shift, so pretty tired.
But,
just gassed.
Me and my 26 other new mom friends ripping it up on the ice. We were all skating about 1 mile per hour, but had a lot of fun. And I think I only fell over like once or twice, so that was pretty wild. I still can't stop, so I just run into the boards, but it's great, super fun. And
you're like Luis Mendoza.
Yeah, we were all just
D2 the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, it felt like the Mighty Ducks, but it was.
I like that.
Cool. So shout out Jossie because she was coaching us all into shape out there. But we have so much to talk about. I don't even know where to start because there's so much from the past few weeks. But we had a couple of pretty big things happen over the last few days. One of the big ones, we talked a little bit about it on the college pod, so we don't have to like deep dive too much, but Tynan Lawrence is leaving Muskegon for BU. And some people are like, oh, what does this mean for the USHL? But I mean, when you think about it, it's good because he's so good that he's taking his talents to the next level. So obviously that's going to be a big loss for Muskegon, though. And Drew, I don't know, as someone that works in the USHL, were you kind of surprised by this, or was this kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense?
That doesn't shock me at all, to be honest with you. I think it's with him coming or him leaving the league, it's probably good for Madison, right? Like I'm okay without having to go through Tynan Lawrence.
A little bit of a bias there.
I will say that that's the biggest difference between leagues to this point, right? Like the USHL, every time that a player advances, it's celebrated. Anytime one of those leagues up north decides to have a player go in halfway through, or you look at Valentini this summer when he didn't honor his commitment and went to Michigan instead, not looked upon as positively. But yeah, I think it's good for the league. I think to have a player go into college specifically to try to become the number one pick in the NHL draft, if all of a sudden Tynan Lawrence in 6 months we're sitting here and he goes number one to whoever wins the lottery, we're going to be sitting here being like, how can you sit here and say it's bad for the USHL to have the number one overall pick? Once again, hasn't happened in a couple of years, but when they have the number one overall pick, you can't say it's a bad thing. So I don't think Gavin McKenna earned the number one pick in World Junior by any means. So why not Tynan Lawrence give himself a shot? I think he was pushing his way up there even when in Muskegon. So he's going to go tear it up. He's got the body frame for it, and he's been tearing it up in Muskegon already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good move too. Like you said, Drew, like if everybody's a little uncertain of who's going to get the number one overall pick and you know that you're probably going to be top 5, why don't you just try it out? And worst case scenario, you do okay and you're still a first round draft pick. And best case scenario, you go tear it up and you could possibly be number 1. Like, just why not? Let's go try it. BU's been kind of up and down, so they can add some punch there with him, so he can just hop right in and get some minutes and see what he can do. So that'll be fun to see kind of how he adjusts, because obviously he's still pretty young. So we'll see. But speaking of young players and Muskegon, they did sign a tender. I didn't know a ton about this guy, Zaac Charbonneau. Big loss for like the Q, because it sounds like he was going to be one of the top guys there. So I didn't really know too much about him. I don't know if you guys had heard of him before or read up on him at all, but obviously if you sign a tender, it's a big deal, especially for Canadians that are going to be coming to play in the USHL.
Drew, do you know anything about Zachary?
You know anything?
I know nothing about Zachary, but it's good for another thing that's good for the USHL, to have a player that is Canadian. He's playing in America right now, but to want to stay in America to play instead of going back to the Q, that's a good sign for the USHL. And yeah, I mean, it's always crazy when these super young players want to play in the USHL the next year, because he's actually 15 right now. He doesn't turn 16 for like 2 weeks. So that means next year he'd be 16 for like half the season, which is just wild to me that guys that young can come in and play against like a 20, almost 21-year-old. So that's pretty wild. But he's got some really good stats right now from Mount St. Charles. And yeah, he's already listed as 6'1". So clearly, obviously, too, it's not like size is going to be an issue.
I've probably mentioned the USEL before. We used to help out with a league called the United States Elite League, right? And Zach showed up one weekend, so I got to watch him play 4 or 5 games. He's super smooth. I mean, he's clearly a gifted athlete, really smart. He's got really good size. He was 6'1" a couple of summers ago when we did the league. So he's a really, really good player. Didn't know a lot about him either. He was just one of those kids who kind of showed up and was like, here's my waiver. What locker room am I supposed to go to? And I was kind of like, I don't know who you are, but thanks for the paperwork that proves you're supposed to be here. But he's a really, really talented player, tearing it up at Mount St. Charles. I do have one last note on Tynan Lawrence. Every league that is not the National Hockey League is a developmental league. So as long as kids are developing and still on that track to play in the NHL, no league should feel slighted. Every league is a development league for the NHL. So it shouldn't come off as, the USHL, they're failing to keep up with. No, every league is a development league. Tynan Lawrence made a good decision for his development, or at least he made a decision that was his own. So nobody should feel like the USHL got slighted in that situation.
For sure. Yeah, and just Zaac Charbonneau, too, just looking at his, elite prospects page, too. Probably a name that some people might recognize because it says his uncle is Daniel Briere, so obviously some family ties within hockey. So
Keegan loves the family ties.
the family
Pat
ties.
Maroon, the assistant coach there. One thing that I heard from Peter's thing of here's my waiver, where's the locker room? That reminds me of the what's the course record and where's the first tee type attitude going into it. I like that.
It might have been. I don't. He is French. I think he speaks both French and English, but he might have just been a little confused about showing up somewhere on the outskirts of Chicago at 6:30 in the morning, dropping his bags. Maybe we're in Detroit. It was either Detroit or Chicago, but he is a very confident player. That is a very good point.
Nice. Well, some other USHL news. Just a fun tidbit I saw was Gunnar Comboy, got to face off a little bit against his dad, Tim, who's, I believe, the Skittles coach for Des Moines, which is kind of fun. And it just said, like, there was a quick little tidbit on Green Bay's Twitter page and just said, it was fun getting to coach against him. And apparently, the win was for bragging rights on the golf course. So I just thought that was kind of fun to see that. Obviously, some Minnesotans as well. So just wanted to throw that in there. I thought that was fun. But I don't know if you guys saw this because it was like yesterday or today, but the Chicago Steel announced that they are going to have a new logo. I'm not sure how I feel about it. There was I see Peter's already looking at it a little bit funny, but there was a lot of mixed reviews, I should say, on Facebook pages. I saw some people thought it looked modern, and a lot of other people were like, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Peter, let's hear your takes on this.
I saw the tweet and didn't click on it, so I didn't read into it. That's not the only change, right? There's another logo in here, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a couple more. They have like a wood mark that says Chicago, but it's all like this, but either white, black, or red.
Okay. I mean, I guess I get it. That's a C and that is an S. I'm not sure if there was any explanation given during the initial post, like we're turning the page or we're starting a new chapter or what have you. I mean, I don't know. They've had the same logo since the league started, haven't they?
Yeah, since they came into the league. It's to me, I don't think their current logo is any good. I kind of think their current logo sucks. So anything was going to be an improvement in my mind. Nothing against the Steel or anything, but I think this like kind of screams soccer to me. They kind of said the explanation why it looks like it. They're supposed to it's supposed to replicate like bridges and city architecture in Chicago. I just think it's like, okay, whatever. Like it's a C and an S and we wanted to connect them at the tips. But the reason that they debuted it is media got to tour the Blackhawks' new practice facility where their arena is. And this logo was already in the ice. So they had to debut it yesterday because I saw pictures of the new arena today. So I'm going to try to find those actually while we go here.
Okay. It does remind me a little bit of the old Chicago Fire MLS logo.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Which might be where, to me, the soccer's coming into it then. That would make sense.
Yeah, that's what made me think of the Chicago Fire. As you mentioned soccer and thinking back to playing backyard soccer 2002. That makes me think of the Chicago Fire.
There's their new rink. People were in the arena today. A beat reporter for the Blackhawks posted this. But you see the logos at center ice, so you kind of had to post yesterday if you're if you're the Steel, the Blackhawks, whatever. It's all the same company at this point. But cool. It's like I said, it's an improvement, right? It gives me the one that I think I saw the most. I didn't see the most of, but like I see it in the logo the most. Is you guys remember the World Cup of Hockey in 2016 when they had like Team North America? The North American logo like kind of reminds me of that, where it's like super modern and we're going to throw it onto a black jersey and this is what it's going to look like. Like, I don't know what the jerseys look like by any means. I would imagine with this being the first image on the thing, I would imagine that means that's probably the jersey. You're probably going to black jersey with that logo, which will be cool. That's the one thing I saw was that Team North America vibes.
That's fair.
For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of mixed reviews on that logo, so feel free to let us know what you think. change is always, there's going to be some haters and some people that love it. So, we shall see. I don't know. New era for the Steel, I guess. But yeah, so that was pretty big here yesterday or today. And then one thing that's coming up pretty soon is the Chipotle All-American Game. I know it doesn't necessarily mean a ton because it's obviously you get selected to it, which is really cool, but it's not like it's a huge kind of tournament or anything. But it's cool if you get selected to play for it. There are a couple of Minnesotans on there, a lot of college commits. Yeah, I don't know. How else would you describe this game, Drew, in a way to somebody who might not know what the All-American Game is? It's kind of hard to describe.
I would say it's an all-star game in the USHL among draft-eligible players. I think that's a fair way to say it, right?
I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's
it doesn't mean anything come USHL standards. It's on NHL Network, which is cool. It's the best of the best. Usually they try to take Americans, but Tynan Lawrence was going to play in that game. So I hear All-American and I'm like, oh, so it's All-Americans. Yeah. Not the case, but still pretty cool to have that sort of game. I'm a bit biased in the fact that I wish there was an actual all-star game for the league because I think that'd be cool. To see the best players in the league rewarded, almost where one player goes from every team or whatever. But I understand the draft eligible piece, and the league touts themselves to NHL scouts. Why not have the best of the best together and put on a show in Plymouth, Michigan?
Yeah. And I mean, too, if you look at it, yeah, definitely not all Americans, because if you look at the forwards, the second name is Rudolph Spurs-Counts. So,
Latvia.
Yeah, it's okay, well, it's definitely not, just limited to, American players. But, yeah, it's a cool event. You get to showcase yourself, obviously put yourself in front of what I assume to be probably a bunch of scouts and stuff. So, still always fun, and I believe it's on the 15th this year, I want to say, coming up in about a week or so from the day that we're recording this. So coming up pretty soon. Obviously, we'll let you guys know how that kind of pans out or if anybody has a really big game or not. But kind of speaking of just some other specialty tournaments, rosters, all that stuff, the World Junior A Challenge happened the time that we were off, and the U.S. Junior Select Team won gold. They beat Canada West in the final, so that's kind of cool that they were able to win that. A couple Minnesotans on the team. They actually lost their first preliminary game to Canada East, and then they beat Sweden, beat Canada West, beat Sweden in the semi, and then beat Canada West in the final. So kind of fun that they did that, and a couple Minnesotans on there. I know Gunnar Conboy was on there. And a couple other guys, Caleb Heil, Danny Clares, Bodie Leyland, Garrett Lindberg, Maceo Phillips, Carson Pilgrim, Ashton Schultz, Brent Solomon, John Stout. And I think that's all of them. I think I read
you thought of all of those off the top of your noggin?
No, I'm looking at the roster. I'm not that crazy, I promise.
Yeah, no. The Canada East game, Canada's top scorer from the tournament, it's the Junior A Challenge, right? So you're thinking these guys are playing not BCHL anymore. Rest in peace to Hockey Canada and the BCHL's connection there. But the MJHL, the AJHL, you're thinking they're playing in the Junior A leagues. Top scorer for the Canadians on Canada East plays in the queue. So maybe he was named to the roster and left after that point. I don't know, but I heard he had a big game in that first game against the Americans, and then they kind of turned it up after. Going into the tournament, you'd imagine with the new NCAA rules that most of the top players that are playing Junior A in Canada would go to Major Junior or even the USHL. So I know the Americans really put their A game out against Sweden both times, not to say anything against the other two, but that was a big piece in that. But yeah, congrats, USA, medaling, woo!
Nice.
Got a medal at some point, right?
Got a medal, yeah. So at least they won gold at that event, because I just have a section that I just called World Juniors. I watched a little bit of it on TV just from my house. I did not watch every game, but I watched a couple of games. Obviously not really the result the Americans wanted, but some fun other games, some fun close games. I always feel like, well, obviously, like I'm from America, but I always like rooting for the other like smaller countries too. Whenever they're about to pull off like big upsets, I always like watching those games, or feel good if somebody can pull off like a crazy win of some kind. Like I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll cheer for Latvia, or like
Not
those.
against the Americans, though, right?
Yeah, not necessarily against Team USA, but like in those other games, I'm like, oh, if they beat Canada, that'd be awesome. Just like, I don't know, always cool. But you guys were actually there for a little bit. So I don't know if you have any highlights, lowlights, weird moments, funny moments, or maybe just all of the above. Because I know, Peter, you were there pretty much the whole time. Drew, were you there for a couple of games too? I know you're there too.
2 games. Yeah, 2 games.
Sweet. Well, Peter, why don't you just give us the rundown? Did you have any top moments, low moments, anything that kind of just stood out to you about the tournament?
My top moment was getting to interview the head of security at Grand Casino Arena and the senior event manager at Grand Casino Arena. I learned a lot during those conversations, and quite frankly, they were more interesting than the mixed zone. The kids get walked into this room a little bit like cattle being shown for auction, and all of a sudden microphones just get stuck in their faces. It doesn't exactly lend itself to deep conversations or multi-layered questions, which is fine. I mean, how else are they going to do it? They're not going to have a press conference where everybody gets to ask 5 questions. That would take forever. It was an experience. I mean, I'm glad we did it. Our audience is not people that pay attention to the World Juniors, but it was in our backyard. So how could we say no when it's 10 minutes from my house? Obviously you wish the Americans would have done better. I think that would have helped out a lot, especially in the semifinals and the finals. If it had been Canada and the US in the gold medal game, I think the atmosphere would have been a lot better, but it's just not how it worked out. My low point would be watching the internet have a collective heart attack over what amounts to a tournament that I'm still not quite sure what it means. Like, you get to be the best for a year. It's a 6-game tournament in January. It doesn't change a lot of these kids' trajections or trajectories for trajections. I don't think that's a word. It doesn't change a lot of their draft trajectories unless somebody has just like the world's worst tournament. But watching people freak out over USA line combinations and this guy was terrible. It's a small sample size in a long season. These kids play so many games. Some of them are absolutely gassed at this point, whether they're playing college or playing juniors. The injuries did not help the Americans. That was my general takeaway. That some people on the internet take this shit way too seriously.
Oh yeah,
way too seriously.
Just wait until February. The Olympics, when they come around, the country pride is what people are saying. That's you get a chance to root on the stars and stripes. Why not? I think the glaring issue throughout the tournament was goaltending. I think going into it, if you looked at elite prospects in the top U.S.-born goaltenders at that age range, I love watching Caleb Hyla play for the Madison Capitals. I think that he's one of the best goalies in his age group. Don't get me wrong. I think, is it a step down from Trey Augustine? Yeah. Is it a step down from a couple other players? Sure. But like, there's room to grow there. Don't get me wrong. And I think Caleb Hyla's ceiling's as high as he wants it to be. The goaltending was an issue. I don't think too many teams played all 3 goalies in the tournament. The U.S. did, and 2 of which eventually got multiple games. But I think overall, like, it was cool to be at. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've watched that tournament on the NHL Network for years, right? Anytime the U.S. plays. And maybe I'm different where, like, because I'm in juniors, like, I see some of the players I get to watch normally. And I see it on TV, and I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. But even when in college, we would sit there and watch the World Juniors, especially if they were doing well. Like, the New Year's Eve game against Sweden, that was a great atmosphere, I think, and like place was packed. I do wish it would have translated into the rest. I wonder if the 5:00 start times, once people actually went back to work, had an impact there. Putting the Americans, the home team, at 5 p.m. and Canada, who everyone was watching on TV for the most part by the terms of their attendance. I wonder if that kind of butchered attendance more. Like, I wonder if you genuinely ask the IIHF or whoever decides TV times, whether it's TSN paying the most and we're saying we want the 7:30 window. If the US played at 7:30 every night, does that attendance change, I wonder? But yeah, it was super cool to be a part of. Buffalo chicken pizza, not good. That would be a big takeaway. And it was great to get some free merch from the USHL and the IIHF. I have one more item from each of them than I have from YHH. So we're in business here. So
you missed the nights where we each got a puck.
Really?
We got an emblazoned puck. I don't know where it is.
Okay. I was
there was a puck,
the pin.
There was a scarf, and there was a hat.
Really?
Wow.
Right there. That's the golden ticket right there. I was gonna pile on something that you just said. Oh, the goaltending. I did not mind the fact that they played Nowling in the game against Sweden, because
you seemed to mind the night of.
I don't think I did, though.
I think you were like, why are they playing Nowling?
I mean, I was certainly confused by it.
But okay, maybe I said it initially, but now that I've thought about it, I get it.
Okay.
Because the spot in the semis, the spot in the quarterfinals was already wrapped up. If you let him play an early game, and maybe the coaching staff before the tournament even started, when they're drinking ice cold Gatorades in the coaching room, like, boys, we might not have it this year no matter who's in net. So if you play Nowling early and you lose a game against Slovakia or whomever, that game against Sweden becomes must win, or you don't move on to the quarterfinal. And Sweden was capable of beating Kempf, Heil, Nowling, or whoever they put out on the ice. So maybe they figured, look, we're playing with house money. We're guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals. We want to get Brady some time because he'll likely be a goalie for us down the road. With hindsight, which is 2020, I was okay with them playing Nowling in that game.
Really, my hindsight, like, I wish they would have played somebody else, to be honest with you. Like, looking back at it. Only because they lost. And who did Sweden play in the quarterfinals? Sweden played Latvia, and the U.S. had to play the Finns. You know what I mean? Like, you make it a step further more than likely if you play. Not more than likely that you win, but you have a better chance against those other teams. Nowling, the youngest goalie, will have 2 more years of junior eligibility, so I do like getting him experience at some point. I just don't know if against the Swedes was the best. Like, I don't know. This is going to be really off topic, but it's going to loop around, I promise. The hindsight thing, back in whatever year, was it 2013 that Parisian Suter signed? With the Wild,
summer of 2012? Summer of 22.
It was right before the lockout, right? I don't think they played a full year before the lockout. I think they
summer of 20. I think it was 2012. Summer of 2012.
Whatever year it was, the lockout was right after it. And I asked one of my friends, hindsight going back, would you take those deals back? And he was like, no, because it was the best era of Wild hockey, like, to this point. Which, like, sure, you're making the playoffs every year. That seems like the type of answer where it's like, hindsight, you can go back and change and potentially go and win a Stanley Cup if you're the Wild, or you can potentially go back and what happens if you win that game against Sweden? Does Sweden all of a sudden lose to the Finns in that quarterfinal game, and then the whole results are different? Like, you never know. So I don't know. I think losing that game could turn the tournament a different way if they win it. Now, was Nowling, say they start Kempf in that game, Kempf could still very easily allow 6 goals to them. I'm not saying I'm not a huge difference, but I don't know. I think hindsight, going back, you had to pull the goaltender after 2 periods. I think hindsight, you'd probably go back and start somebody else. I like him getting experience, but I don't know. You could be talking medal rounds here.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not like Latvia was a total pushover, though. Rudolph Burskalns. How do you pronounce the last name, Drew?
Burskalns.
He was fantastic. I watched Latvia play Canada, and I thought Latvia was a pretty darn good team. They 100% could have stolen one from the U.S. if they'd played the U.S. in the quarterfinal.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we'll never know, but you have to, like, if you're saying the U.S. had a better chance against the Finns or Latvia, I'd take Latvia in the matchup just by odds standpoint of you look at their Olympic rosters and it's nothing against the Latvians, but the Finns have all NHLers and the Latvians have 5 or 6.
Oh, they certainly have a first rounder in Albert Smits.
Yeah, I think Burrs Collins is probably a second, third, fourth round guy too. So, yeah, that's
Well,
World Juniors.
he's still a baby, isn't he? He's got the full face mask. He's like an 08 or an
Burrs
07.
Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to tell you. 08s are draft eligible this year if you're in the right side of the calendar year.
That's wild.
Is it really the 08? Is it really the 08 draft year?
Yep.
Oh
Do the math. Do the math.
I freaking quit. I quit this job. I feel so freaking old, man.
Yeah, when I start seeing 2010s, I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, you mentioned the Albert Smith's guy. I know I saw a lot of good clips of him. Was he somebody that kind of just stood out to a lot of the media? I don't know if you got to kind of interact with him at all, Peter.
I didn't get to interact with him at all. I was a little confused early on about what the process was for talking to players where English might not be their first language. Like I asked somebody, is there going to be an interpreter to help with some of these questions? And they didn't know either. I did learn that when you signed up to talk to a kid, you could put the language there. And I think that they would let you know, like, hey, this kid doesn't speak English very well. So I never interacted with the Latvians. I was more concerned with getting a story done on Michael Hage. And then another story that just never materialized. It was harder than I thought to get feature stories done based on who was actually at practice, if practice was actually scheduled, if they were just doing a morning skate, or if they were doing like team lunch at Chipotle. Nailing down teams on practice days was a little harder than I thought it would be. I didn't have any interactions with the Latvian team. I just thought he was really good. And then I saw somebody tweet that he was a potential first rounder. So I watched him a little more closely in clips and in highlights. And he moves really well. He's a big boy. I think one of the headlines, somebody wrote a feature on him. Maybe it was Scott Wheeler. They said a no nonsense defenseman, which is a really good way to describe him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. I remember going to the U18 Women's Worlds a few years ago in Madison, and some of the players that aren't from America or Canada, it felt like kind of a toss-up of how good is this random player from like Czechia's English going to be? Are they going to be fluent, or are they going to literally know no words? And I remember that
the 14-year-old.
Yeah, because you're like, do you go to a school where they learn English, or are you going to be like, I can't answer any of your questions? Because obviously I didn't want to, but you never know. It's kind of a gamble.
Well, like if Burrs Collins, for example, if he wasn't taught English in school, the only language he knows is from other junior hockey players. And I've heard a lot of junior hockey players talk, and their English isn't one you want to write down for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy part too, because I talked to a few of the Swedish guys and I talked to a couple of Czechia players, and the English, even if they do speak the language, the phrasing is just a little bit off. So when I was transcribing some of these interviews, I was like, this kid is going to sound like an idiot. If I write, I know what he's trying to say, but if I write it the exact way that he said it to me, he's going to sound so dumb, which isn't fair to the player. I would also say that after they won, Sweden's favorite word in the post-game pressers was the F-bomb. There were more than a few F-bombs dropped. And they were excited. Like, who cares? But, yeah, I noticed that transcribing a couple of Swedish players' interviews that if I type it exactly as they said it, it's not going to come out right.
How about the Coca-Cola chugging out of the trophy? I like that. I was laughing when I saw
I didn't
that.
see that. I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, they were like actually chugging Coca-Cola. Like people are like, sure, it's Coca-Cola. And then they like showed all the empty cans of Coca-Cola on the ground. I was dying laughing about that. Just dropping F-bombs and chugging Coke.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize if you're in the building, if there's like anyone watching, like none of them are 21. So
yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
I would not be surprised if a few of them made their way somewhere on West 7th for an adult beverage. But then again, you could also make that argument about high school teams during the high school state tournament.
Hey, I remember going to Frozen Face Off at the XL for NCHC, and I've seen some teams come down to the bar after they win with their trophies, and I'm like, that I know who that is, and that player is definitely not quite of age. I don't care, but
you should 100% be the one to tap the bartender on the shoulder and be like, he's not 21.
This is his elite prospects page. His birthday isn't until July. That would be so bad.
It clearly says he's a 2008 birthday. Thank you.
People like after Frozen Face Off, and I'm like, you don't know. I'm not gonna rat you out, but always funny though to be like, that's wild though. But I don't know.
World Juniors, good time.
Yeah. Did you have any other funny things that happened? Highlights, lowlights?
Yeah, the only low light was the buffalo chicken pizza.
Well, yeah, I always like to joke that the last time I worked a state tournament for the Rink Live, so a couple years ago now, but I was like, I couldn't tell anyone yet at the time, but I was like pregnant at the time, and I had to eat the same XL food like every day because you don't have time to leave at the state tournament to like go get food elsewhere. And I was like, if I have to eat another hot dog when I already do not want to eat a hot dog and I'm like pregnant, I cannot. Like, I just remember being like, this sucks because I can't tell anyone, but like I can't eat another XL hot dog or chicken tender basket. Like I cannot. So now whenever I go there, I'm just reminded and I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
Drew, fill Sydney in on the little secret hole in the wall that you and I met up at.
I don't remember the name. I also didn't eat food there that day either. So you're gonna have to
in the arena or like in the area.
It's in River Center.
Oh.
Yeah, Headwaters Cafe. They do sandwiches and wraps and salads, and it's depending on how many people are in the elevator. It's like a 7-minute walk from the press box. You never have to leave the building. Security will let you bring it back through if you want to bring it back and eat in the press box or eat in that photography workroom. I love that place. I turned in my receipts to get reimbursed the other day, and I'm pretty sure I scared Sharon with how many receipts I had from the Headwaters Cafe. Like, how many chicken Caesar wraps can you possibly eat?
But you were one for the 2 days I was there. With the,
my thing is
one day you hated it.
Whenever I work there, I always got to get a Maui Wowie, if it's reimbursed. I probably
always got to get a Maui Wowie.
My thing was every time I'd work a state tournament on like my personal Facebook, just for fun, I'd go Maui Wowie smoothies I drank today, games I watched today, like number of goals.
I like that.
I'm always down for the Maui Wowies. They're so good. But
what flavor?
A little steep for me if I pay them with my own money. But if I get reimbursed, I'm down for the Maui Wowies.
They're like $14.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
for a little one.
Myself, maybe not. But last time I was there, I had a lot because, like I said, last time I worked a state tournament, I was pretty pregnant, and those Maui Wowies just hit the spot. So,
shout out the Maui Wowie stand back in the day. You can buy just singular bananas from the Maui Wowie stand.
You couldn't you?
It's
really so cool. we would go and buy bananas and then peel bananas. Sick.
It was wild though, because I would go and get a Maui Wowie and bring it to the press box, and a lot of times like the press box people are like, "Are you bringing alcohol up here?" And I'm like, "No, it's just the smoothie. It's not like a cocktail. It's just it's like the kids' smoothie. They're just really good."
Is there a sign on the press box that says you can't have booze?
No, but I think they meant it as like a joke, but also they were probably like, "Are you drinking?" It's like 10 a.m. Like, did you get a spiked one? And I'm like, no.
Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Just the smoothie, I swear. So that's kind of a funny random tangent. But anytime I have to eat at the arena, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't.
All right. So. I got one more thing about the press box. So girls state tournament, they don't even turn the fountain drink machine on. Right? Yes. Like you press the little stick and nothing comes out. Nothing comes out. There's no cups. There's no ice. There's no nothing. There were chicken tenders. There were protein bars. There were granola bars. There was coffee. There was hot water. There were tea bags. There was soda forever. One of the press box attendants was so sweet. She came up and tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Did you get chicken tenders? I want to make sure everybody got a bite at the chicken tenders."
Where were the chicken fingers? Were they not there the days I was there? Or was I not looking?
No,
at the
they
right
were
spot?
there. They were there a different day.
I just had the press meal downstairs before going up the one day, which also free of charge that day. Not a big deal. Barbecue chicken with mac and cheese. There was also some soup. I skipped that because it was just like a weird color that I wasn't about. One thing I didn't like though, no ice cream machine on. That would have been a huge game changer.
Gotcha, for sure. Well, that's kind of our World Juniors tangent. There's a lot of commitments. I don't need to talk about every single one of them, but I wanted to throw them on here because there was quite a few. Oh, wow. Drew even made a fancy graphic. That's
Look at that.
sweet. But yeah, just a lot of them. The one I know we talked about Mason Fleece quite a bit on this show, that he was Penn State. He actually flipped to Maine. I kind of thought maybe it'd be a different type of school, but cool to see him with the new logo next to his name. Justin Graff commits to Harvard. He was previously a Merrimack. There's kind of a lot of flips going on. Reese Wallen, you probably know him from Wayzata in the past. He was UMass, which was kind of random for a Minnesotan, but now he's going to be going to West Point. Charlie Aaron, I actually interviewed him like a long time ago, back when he committed to Ohio State. Now he's going to Cornell. Drew, one of your Madison guys, Austin Moline, going to Michigan Tech.
Big Mo.
Was he like CC a really long time ago? Or what school was it?
Really long time ago, he was Northern Michigan. Then they got the new staff in.
Oh,
then he
yeah.
decommitted and went to CC. Then CC, I believe their director of recruiting left or something like that last year. So then he decommitted from there. And now he's Michigan Tech. Also on the IR though, which is sad. Sad news for the Caps. Sad news for the Caps.
And he's a draft pick too. But I mean, what's kind of his style of game, Drew? For anybody who doesn't know him, fill us in on him.
He's a big-bodied guy with a good stick. This summer he was at the Philly camp and actually went into training camp too, which is something they can do now, which is cool. He got a lot more confidence from that camp. I think the offensive side of his game started to show at points. Battled injury a lot this year, though, which is tough. And then the most recent one, I don't know, done for the year, but I know he's done for a while. Like he's back home, done. But he's a good defenseman, a good stick, big body, long reach. Right shot too, big right shot defenseman. I think when you draft a player at age 18, you really don't know what you're going to get, so you kind of project out. And him being a tall right shot defenseman, I think that's an NHL GM's wet dream, hearing those words. So that helped him get picked by Philly, but he made the most of it. He was third in the league last year in plus minus. I wonder, had he stayed healthy the rest of the year, if he hadn't committed, but it was literally a couple weeks after he got hurt. So that makes me think possibly end of year, and Michigan Tech's offer was there. Michigan Tech actually gets another good defenseman on the other side, though, too, and Morgan Brady.
Yeah, for sure. So he also committed as well, Morgan Brady. One that I saw, I'm not sure how recent it is. It could be not that recent, but for a long time, I remember Brady Arneson having the Maine logo next to his name, and he's, lists his hometown as Red Wing, which is always cool. But he has the Air Force logo next to his name, so I'm not really sure when that happens. A lot of guys, when they flip, they might not post about it. So apologies if that's not super recent, but I remember it being Maine last time I checked, so I think it's fairly recent.
It's so weird. Like the service academies keep scooping these dudes that have been decommitted from other programs.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good at that, and they've got
no roster limits at those programs. That's why.
And
they
can
scoop up
a lot.
They can scoop up as many as they want because they don't have to abide by the new NCAA rules.
Okay.
I mean, they have a hard time too when you think about it. Like they can't recruit any international players.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to train in other countries, individuals as soldiers.
I think there's rules to it, but I think typically, if you're gonna play for the U.S. Air Force Academy, you got to be, generally from the U.S. I think there's asterisks, but yeah. But they, have been picking up a lot of people, specifically West Point. I know has picked up quite a few Minnesotans recently, but threw that one on there.
Just for posterity.
Oh, Maine.
We
Shout out.
University of Maine jersey on tonight.
Shout out Ben Bishop.
Ben
Nice.
Bishop?
Yeah, former goalie of Maine.
I was always more of a Jimmy Montgomery guy.
All right, I like that.
Okay.
Paul Correa, that's a Maine guy.
Obviously,
too, right?
Paul Correa. Oh, yeah, Paul Correa, Steve Correa, Jimmy Montgomery, Chris Imes, who's a native Minnesotan. I believe he's from International Falls, or he's from northern Minnesota. Chris Imes.
That's just the boomer in you, dude.
The boomer in me.
Yeah.
Loving. The University of Maine is also responsible for arguably the greatest college hockey team of all time that went 42-1-2.
Not in today's game, they wouldn't.
That's the boomer in you.
Wild tangents again. Well, shout out Maine, shout out Black Bears. I don't have a Black Bear commit, just a flip from the Black Bears. Well, I guess Mason Fleece, shout out.
Yeah, that's why you threw the J on.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mason Fleece is a good player.
For sure. Bemidji State picks up a Cedar Rapids player, Sullivan Miller. One guy who's actually from France. Shout out French hockey players, Théo Besnier.
Théo Besnier.
Sweet. Thanks for the pronunciation, Drew.
Got you.
Lake Superior State. Always cool. Every once in a while, I see hockey players from like France or Spain, and I'm like, cool. Love to see that.
City of Love, Sault Ste. Marie. Well, basically the same thing. Paris and the UP.
Same thing. Yeah, for sure. We already mentioned Morgan Brady, and then the two players we mentioned, I think, on the very first show that we recorded, the Austin twin brothers, Simeon and Matvey Marcianuk of the Austin
rolls
Bruins.
off the tongue.
They commit to Augustana. Obviously, Austin is not super far from Sioux Falls on the map, so maybe they got some good looks at them. But they're twins. They've been tearing it up in the Null. And they're guys, I do not know how to ever say their names, and they're from Belarus, and they've been killing it. They're some of the top scorers in the Null. So I always think it's interesting to see how those guys end up translating to college hockey, but they're the top two scorers for the Austin Bruins right now. And I feel like anytime there's twins that are both good, you got to recruit them both. You just have to. But we'll see how they pan out, because I know Augustana, like, this is kind of a random tangent too, or tie-in, but Augustana has a guy on their team now, Leo Bulgakov, who's also from Belarus, and he played in the Null last year, and he's like killing it for them right now. He had a big week like a few weeks ago, so kind of cool that they're scooping up these like guys from Belarus in the Null. We'll see if they all pan out in the future, but love to see it.
The pipeline from Belarus to Sioux Falls.
Yeah,
everyone talks about.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a pretty easy flight.
Yeah, super easy, especially getting out of Belarus these days.
Yeah, it's wild, but cool, good for them. And then one of the other ones, Minnesotans that I have here, Levi Eider, who you might remember from Prior Lake. He's currently playing in the BC, commits to Bentley. I know Tony always loves to talk about how he knows about Bentley because he went out there, and we always talk about
love Levi Eider.
Shout out Andy Jones, Bentley, Levi. Super cool to see him get that commitment. And then obviously we want to take a quick minute to shout out our sponsors, the USHL and APX. The USHL, obviously we just mentioned a ton of USHL commitments, and we talked about Tynan Lawrence advancing on to college hockey. So we love the USHL. We already know the development is awesome. Can't wait to see Tynan Lawrence tear it up for BU in the second half. And obviously there's so many commitments recently that they're still advancing tons and tons of guys right now. And then APX as well. Obviously, if you have any training and development needs, or you want an awesome advisor behind you, go to apx-hockey.com. And I have two examples recently of guys that pertain to our show that committed under our advisors. Trey Peck, who I've been a long time fan of his game since like watching him at 15 camp. I love Trey Peck. He's awesome. I've always been a fan of his, and then I saw he committed to West Point recently, and I was like, you know what? Shout out. That kid is grinded, man.
You are obsessed with Trey Pack.
Because nobody ever believed me how good he was because he's so short. Everyone was like, oh, I don't know about that guy. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's going to be a D1 player someday. So it's my claim to fame that I was like, I knew it.
But fill us in on why he should be a D1 player. This is your time to stunt.
Yeah,
time to stunt on all these people.
Used to, when I worked for the Rink Lab, I'd go to the 15s camp at the Herb in St. Cloud, and I'd sit there and I'd watch all the games and I'd take little notes on my notebook. Nobody knew who I was, so obviously nobody suspects I'm doing anything. And then I'd put out kind of like my own little scouting report. And I remember watching Trey Peck. He was so small. He's not too big now either, but he was like the smallest guy at the entire camp. And that dude, it did not matter. He was just scoring on everybody, making great plays. And just every time I watched him, he was just doing all the right things. And I feel like he was doing good. He was like leading Totino in scoring, and nobody ever talked about him. And I was like, what is the deal? Like, I'm just not one of those people who needs players to be 6'5". I don't care. So I was super excited to see that he committed to West Point, because I think he's going to be one of those guys that'll end up being a really good 4-year college hockey player. So shout out him. And then also another Minnesotan guys might know, Owen Korkish also got his D1 commitment to St. Thomas. And I actually talked to him last night on the phone. So shout out to him. He's playing in the dub though, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, he'll be staying close to home with the Tommies. So that's 2 of our APX guys who've committed, which is super cool. And we've had some other ones too, but those pertain to this show. So shout out to them. I didn't really have any big decommitments besides one guy that I talked to in the past. I saw Sammy Crane. He plays for the St. Cloud Norsemen of the Null. Used to be an Air Force commit, no longer the logo next to his name. So don't know what's up there. But then a couple other notes here as we get closer to the end of the show on just other players and major junior and that kind of stuff. Xavier got the goalie of the week in the WHL recently for Tri-City. He went 2-0 with a .968 save percentage, so he's tearing it up still. Luke Christofferson, formerly of Two Rivers, got his first WHL goal. Shout out to him. Josh Toll playing really well in Wenatchee. It's kind of funny. I saw he got his first WHL goal because all of his points were in assists. Like prior to that, I want to say it was like 0 and 24, something crazy, like just a ton of assists. I think he was their leading scorer, but only with assists for a little while, which is crazy. So he's been doing really well. He's got 2 goals, 27 assists now for Wenatchee. So that's super cool to see our Minnesotan guys putting up points. He is their leading scorer right now. I just checked. So put that on there. This just happened today. Blake Vanek got traded from Wenatchee to Calgary for the rights to Carter Ernst. And I know Carter was playing in the USHL before the season, so I don't know now if he's thinking about going to the dub after the season. I'll have to check in on that because I know he's an APX guy. Another trade, Paul Anderson got traded from Edmonton to Red Deer. So that's another guy there people might remember. Jaden Vaney, I think is how you say his last name. The big guy Vaney. Everybody remembers from Rochester, Vaney. I think he's also a West Point commit. They're just scooping up so many Minnesotans over the past few years. He's going back to Chilliwack. He was there most of the season last year, but he started the year in Youngstown. So on the move. And a couple players playing well after trades. Junior Podine playing pretty well now. He was in Watertown Shamrocks. Shout out Blake Tyson that we know, Drew. Thought I would throw that in there with Watertown. But Junior Podine moved up to Spruce Grove in the BC, or not moved up, but changed leagues, I guess you could say. But he's doing pretty good. Got 7 points in 10 games now for them. That's another player I feel like people were like, oh, he's so small. And I'm like, just wait. He'll be good. Just give it a little bit. He'll be good.
If you put a team together, Sydney, of your favorite players, the average height would be like 5'6.5".
I don't think that'd be the average height. I'm just not into the you got.
And that team would get smoked.
No, they'd grind it out. They'd get some wins.
You gotta have some players taller than 5'7".
Hey, there's just a couple of them. I'm big into the underdog guys who are always like grinding it out.
You know what happens when you have a team full of underdogs?
People are like, that guy's not 6'4". I'm like,
you know what happens when you have a team full of underdogs? I was about to have it.
Wow.
Sydney, you and I do the same voice when we're making fun of people.
Had to self bleep. Wow.
Yeah, hey, that's good for me.
No, I don't think my average player would be that tall. I just always like to shout them out because I always see people rip on him. They're like, that guy committed to our college. He's like 5'7". I'm like, just give it a little while. Just chill.
I should
Chill.
put a reminder to look at my phone for Trey Peck
Yeah.
stats in 3 years.
Hey, he'll be tearing it up for West Point, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
But I guess I'm one of those people. I'm not an NHL scout. I'm not looking for the number 1 overall pick. I'm going, who's going to be the best 4-year college hockey player that'll stay for all 4 years?
That'll stay for all 4 years? Yeah.
Yeah, looking for. But him and then another guy, another West Point guy here, Sam Schulte, Mounds View. He got traded Chippewa to Rochester, and I think he had like 4 points in his first game there or something. I remember tweeting it out. So I don't know why we were talking about so many West Point guys today on the show. I guess they just have a lot that are relevant. Peter's doing the salute. But they've had a lot of guys doing good things. And again, like I said, they might not be the all-star NHL draft pick guys, but, they're guys that are doing good with what they got now. And who knows, maybe the West Point team will get some good wins in the future. You never know. I always like to root for them to pull off like big upsets every once in a while. It's always fun with the Service Academy guys. Oh yeah, yep. Sam Schulte just looked it up. 2 games, 7 points in 2 games for Rochester of the Null. So shout out.
Okay. Watch out, Cale Makar.
A lot of sense. So cool, killing it. And Drew, I don't know if you had any funny things of the week. I did see Luke Gary hit the 6'7" celly. That's not, like the funniest thing I've ever seen, but I thought that was mildly entertaining. And I also thought maybe you should throw in some tidbits about the surveillance swans, Drew, because that's like fight.
Yeah.
That's
fight. We had Birds Aren't Real night at the Madison Capitals game. Hey, you look at it like that, you should see the merch numbers from it.
I thought it was wild.
Then, I don't know, it's just kind of like a funny thing, right? Like, that's the beauty of minor league sports or junior sports. Which is funny. We had Birds Aren't Real, and then we had Wedding Crashers night, and our mascot, who is a bird, got married. So we had Birds Aren't Real to Bird getting married. So,
wow.
So either way you look at it, we had something for you with the Caps. But yeah, no, it was super cool. I liked the design of the jerseys and everything that I got to put together. So that was straight from Drew's brain from scratch. A little help from my wife along the way, and yeah, it was sweet. We big fans of the surveillance swans over here in Madison. But yes, I do have a couple of funny things to kind of go along. I didn't get to 6'7" celly. It was just like a very quick, it was like a 2-second thing.
I thought if you didn't have any other content than 6'7",
yeah,
but not.
Yeah, I just like this one comment from David Cohn. Death taxes Waterloo versus Lincoln playoffs. My favorite part of this is Green Bay versus Madison or Chicago can be pretty rough. I like the subtle little roast to Chicago. Yeah, so that was one that I wanted to pull up comment-wise.
Your top contributor.
Yeah. No, not top for Troy Bobbin. All-star
contributor.
Come on.
All-star contributor.
We have a couple of fun ones, though. This one is from the USHL. So we'll start there. Shout out to Chicago Scratch and getting after it with the ladies in Dubuque. Chatting them up. And yeah, so shout out to the fellas there. Hopefully they had some luck. And yeah, so that was one of the videos. And the other one, you guys have obviously seen Slapshot.
Yeah.
Tell me this doesn't remind you of Slapshot. This is during the national anthem. He's just ready to rip. He's ready to go.
Wow.
Someone had some smelling salts before that.
Yeah, either that or he's just amped. He was not paying attention to the damn song once.
Trying to listen to the song.
Trying to listen to the damn song.
Wow.
Wow, there's a lot going on. The as for the kids in the bleachers, I'm sure they were being nothing but gentlemen.
Yeah, saying, "Hey, so this is what offsides is." They're trying to help out, explain either the game or what they're doing after the game. If they wanted some free tickets in their arena the next night. I also actually kind of looking at that picture, or that video, I kind of wonder if those are Dubuque scratches. Oh, that's the wrong video. My bad. I kind of wonder if these are Dubuque scratches. Just by where they're at in the arena, this is a suite. I think these are Dubuque scratches. That's a suite, and that's where like the Dubuque scratches have sat every time I go there. And maybe they're not even scratches at all, right? Like maybe they're just gentlemen who wanted to dress up to go to the game. I can't see a logo. Either way, though, congrats.
No bullshit. I love that video because it reminds everybody that these are still kids. Like they still want to talk to girls in the stands. They still want to get a hot dog. They still want to get nachos. Some of them probably wear shoes that still light up. I mean, it's a nice little reminder that they are still kids that still do kid things.
Do we have any Youth Hockey Hub light up shoes? I mean, I wouldn't get them because I don't get Youth Hockey Hub merch, but like,
I would love light up shoes. I would also love Heelys. I think that if you had a pair of Heelys, you could talk to whoever you wanted to in the stands. If you had a pair of Heelys, the light up shoes thing, that's especially a line I've used with
especially the chicks. Oh, if you have the Heelys on, you're not striking out that day.
No, I should ask my wife if she can come upstairs and she can give you the lowdown on if somebody was wearing Heelys and they spit some game at her. I mean, I might be on my way out, gang.
Yeah, you probably would be. Like, there's celebrities where it's like, oh, like this is a good looking guy you don't want your lady to talk to, and then there's guys at hockey rinks ripping Heelys around the concourse. Like, hide your women, fellas.
They're ripping Heelys and they're all wearing the hockey pregame uniform of the beanie.
Oh yeah.
And the pants that are just like a little too short, little too high above the ankle, and then the overcoat and the coffee and the AirPods. But they're all wearing the beanie with the suit, which I don't quite understand.
And to be honest with you, the only thing besides that could really like push it over the edge is if they go out to drill the holes for the moorings on the net after. Like, can you imagine someone rips out there with Heelys onto that? They'd have a line at the Zamboni door waiting for them.
Oh yeah.
Sydney's just loving this conversation. What men do to try to earn the attention of a woman. Heelys light up shoes.
Light up shoes?
Are we wrong? Light up Heelys specifically.
I mean, I had Heelys. I worked at a gym and I did own a pair of Heelys. So
okay, and if you saw a gentleman, let's call it a rink worker, ripping around in Heelys, picking up some garbage and going down to drill holes in the net to make sure the nets don't pop off its moorings.
Got Heelys on, props to you. Like if you're confident with it, I think that would work. But if you're like a little hesitant, like probably not.
Okay. Confidence, Heelys, light up.
Yeah,
and drilling holes and
confidently rock them, and then I think people would be into it. You just gotta have the Heely Riz, I guess.
I feel like if you're rocking Heelys as an adult, you have to have confidence. So that's a box that's already checked off once you tie your shoes.
But I do think Heely Riz might be a little hard to achieve, but definitely not impossible.
This has been dating advice with Drew.
Yeah,
confidence.
How to pick up chicks. I'm married.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're all married. Like,
yeah,
we've all found success. So,
yeah, I'm one for my last one.
We're batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't really have much for you guys. Shout out, married squad.
I think that's a good place to turn everything off.
All right. Well, we just hit the 1 hour mark too, so I think we're good.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for sticking with us. Kind of a chaotic show today because we were off for so long, but we got
nice
some
to be
regular
back.
stuff. Yeah, coming your way now that it's a little less crazy here before it gets crazy again closer to the state tournaments. But thanks for sticking with us for the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. Thanks to our sponsors, the USHL and APX. And again, I'm Sydney Wolf, joined by Peter Rodney and Drew Steele, and we'll see you guys in a week or so here.